Welcome, everyone. Hello. Yeah, you can say hello back. That'd be nice. Say hi. Hello, everyone. I'm Claire Malcolm. I'm the Chief Executive of New Writing North. Can you all hear me okay? Brilliant. It's my great pleasure to welcome you here to Northumbria University tonight. Welcome to everyone in the room, and welcome to everyone joining us on the live stream tonight. Special wave out to people across the north and across the country watching us. It's really exciting that we can beam this event out of Newcastle to everyone that wants to see it. Because tonight we are celebrating 25 years of the Northern Writers Awards. As I've been here for all of those 25 years, I would like to take this opportunity tonight to talk about hope and how writing brings us together and makes connections. Everyone who sits down to write a book does so full of hope. Hope that the idea stands up and can go the distance, hope that it can be completed, and hope that someday others will read it. Once written, a book goes out into the world to meet its readers. However mixed up, sad, or out of place you feel in the world, a writer will have picked up a pen to explore the same feelings and will have launched a flare into the world to say, you are not alone. When I was a young person, I read to explore a world that was bigger than my own. I met people through the pages of books who showed me how to live in different ways. I was lucky to find books and for them to work for me in that way. Not everyone gets that opportunity. But it grew a lifelong love of reading and a belief in me that books are important, and it gave me a really deep respect and admiration for those that write them. If you're lucky, you can find others that share your enthusiasm for books and stories and make even more connections. I'm lucky that I'm now part of a brilliant team at New Writing North who share all my enthusiasms. We owe those that write books a great deal. They deserve our support, and to me, that's what the Northern Writers Awards are about. The awards were created 25 years ago. I was a child when we set this project up. I can barely fathom how those years have passed, how many of those years have passed, and how quickly that time has gone. But the support we set out to give to writers then was urgent, and it still feels urgent now, though the context a quarter of a century later is different. The North is different. In some ways much better, and in some ways even more challenged, and still sometimes apart from the mainstream. The awards that we ran in the very first year were not that different to how we operate them now. The aim was to support writers to buy time to write so that they could create new work. 25 years on, what has changed a great deal is how we enable this, through quite sophisticated partnerships, mentoring, peer and wellbeing support, and making connections for new talent to industry. So that people move quite quickly through these programs to become published and often quite successful writers. My colleague Will Mackey, who now directs the awards, has built a range of partnerships with publishers, agents, organisations and individuals who now support over 20 writers a year on their journey. We are lucky to be able to attract fantastic judges to the awards, and some of them are here this evening, and we really appreciate the time and contribution that they make to our work. We value all of our partnerships and thank our supporters for their ongoing commitment to writers in the North. We are now the largest and the best awards programme for new talent in the country, and we continue to grow and develop what we do in new ways, moving both with the culture and the needs of the culture and with industry to keep abreast of what writers need. We read over 3,000 submissions each year for the awards. That's a huge amount of people writing in Yorkshire, the North West, and here in the North East. Writers are the North's imaginative powerhouse. Our winners and their achievements are myriad, and tonight you will hear directly from some of our brilliant and stellar alumni. But just to give you a taste of what the awards enable, just this year, Irini Lapadaki launched her debut novel, The Wives of Halcyon. Katja Kane secured a six-figure deal from Penguin for a young adult novel, Bloods of God and Girls, which will be published in 2026. Tausif Khan's debut novel, Determination, was published by Footnote Press. Karen Powell's second novel, 15 Wild Decembers, was shortlisted for the Novel of the Year and the Nero Prize. And just last week, Sarah Brooks' debut novel, The Curious Traveller's Guide to the Wastelands, published by Weinfeld and Nicholson, received an absolutely stonking review in the Times, heralding the arrival of a major new literary talent. Wouldn't happen without the Northern Writers' Awards. The North is already really acknowledged as a hotspot for poetry, and you'll hear a lot more about that tonight. And just in this field, of note are Amelia Lully, who will publish her first collection, Slip, with Jonathan Cape this year, and Kit Fan, who you'll hear from later this evening, whose collection, The Ink Cloud Reader, was shortlisted for both the Forward and T.S. Eliot Prize. And we continue to watch as the alumni of our Channel 4 Writing for Television prizes and awards go straight from strength to strength, diversifying who gets to write for mainstream telly. Adam Bennett-Lee's project Dragged Up is now in development with Channel 4 with production company Bonafide, and he's now regularly writing for Waterloo Roads and Hollyoaks. So the Northern Writers' Awards are our major project at New Writing North. They will always be the beating heart of what we do. But 25 years on, they now form part of a rich tapestry of activities. Our Writing and Publishing Hub operates a vibrant programme of activities from career development roadshows, which introduce young people in this region to creative careers, to learning opportunities that are enabling people to improve their writing skills and to think about writing and literature as a business in libraries across the region. Just a few weeks ago, we welcomed 120 people to the city for the Newcastle Writing Conference. And through these programmes, many people are taking their first creative steps or developing their work and what they do through bursaries and networking. Others are using our support to launch their own companies. Last month, we were proud to be at the launch of Threads in the Ground, a new climate hope organisation founded by Adam Cooper, one of our creative associates. To make all this happen, we have built fantastic partnerships with publishers, and they enable a great deal of the work we do now. With Hachette UK, who we invited to open an office in Newcastle as part of their national programme, we now co-produce a successful Masters in Publishing with Northumbria University, and 12 people now work at the Hachette office in Newcastle in really good publishing jobs, and more will follow. We have welcomed the Faber Academy to Newcastle to train writers and have recently committed to a new programme of work with Faber, which will see their presence grow in the region. And just last week at the Faber Summer Party, which I got to go to for the first time, I felt I had arrived, I met Rosie, who is now working in the publicity team. Rosie had been part of a New Writing North Industry Insight Day, where we took young people from the North East to London to spend a day at Faber and Faber, exploring jobs in publishing. A handful of years later, and there she is in a job, which is great, it's a lovely outcome. But in the future, the Rosies of this world will not necessarily need to travel to leave the North to go to work in London. We are creating an environment here in the North where publishers want to be, drawn by the talent, but also by what New Writing North can make happen here. With the support of Creative UK, we are opening an audiobook studio in Newcastle later this year. We will be the only audiobook makers on the East Coast between London and Edinburgh. You will soon hear Made in Newcastle in a more Geordie accent than I can make happen at the end of your audiobooks and hear them read by Geordie actors. As the region prepares to welcome Crown Works, the biggest film studio development in the UK, we are readying the writing workforce to create new content. We're now running pre-production slates for new screen projects, working with North East Screen, Film 4 and others, alongside our long-running work with Channel 4 to support new talent. It's great to encourage new talent, but it also matters who gets to write. And writing, like most of the creative industries, is not yet a level playing field for many. It's not yet an open door, and we want to make it more so. This year, we launched the second cohort of A Writing Chance, a UK-wide talent programme for working-class writers that we founded with Michael Sheen, welcoming 16 writers onto a programme that is supported by Faber, Audible, Substack, and the Daily Mirror. This project is already influencing the national conversation about class within the writing industries and will continue to do so. Later this year, we will launch a new literary magazine, which will grow out of this programme, which will further support working-class writers and writing nationally. Locally, we have just launched a new project, North East Now, and some of you have some of the essays on the table, which is a series of new commissions from northern writers which explore the future of the Northeast under devolution. We've asked writers to look at regional storytelling, urban and rural experiences, and how children and families and the environment are faring in the region, and what we might need to think about for the future. These essays are all going to be published in the journal, and they'll culminate at a special event at Durham Book Festival this autumn. You may wonder what a writing organisation is doing getting involved with devolution debates, but we feel a responsibility to engage with civic life in this way. When so much language and public discourse is coarsening and degrading how we use language, and with disinformation and misinformation muddying how words are used to segregate, incite, and often divide us, it feels important to ensure that good writing, authentic thinking, and new ideas are here in public life. We're here for good ideas, and we're here for language. I'm proud that New Writing North has played a major role in building an ecology for literature in the North. But you can't grow a literary ecology without a commitment to nurturing the newest shoots, and there are lots of new shoots in this room tonight. We do this through our work with schools and with young people and within communities. Our work in this area has grown exponentially over the past 10 years, and we now have long-running and deeply embedded projects happening in Newcastle and Gateshead, supporting lots of people. Through this work, we enable people to find their voices. A participant from our West End Rights project, which happens at a drop-in food bank in the West End, said this year. The group allows people to tell their stories. I feel that there's a real value in that. If you can call us ordinary people, if it is okay to call us ordinary people, then it's ordinary people's voices. I think it's important that everyone's voice is heard, otherwise they are silent. Politicians have their stories heard, or they're all family, and I think perhaps we hear too much from some people and not enough from others, and so this feels like a remedy to that. I mean, I'm sure at the moment there are a lot of people we feel like we're hearing a bit too much from in the media, but I think that tells you a lot about what is actually going on with some of the work we do. On the New Biggin Estate in Newcastle, we work with doctors, surgeries, community centres, and with a host of other agencies to co-create creative projects that support people of all ages. Many people are still really struggling. I'm sure lots of us really know and see that. And our work touches people's lives in very positive ways. It often brings hope and brings change to people. As one of our participants from our group there told us, socially, I was really struggling before I came here. After the first lockdown, I stayed inside for 2.5 years. I didn't know how to go out anymore. Before, I didn't do any activities like this as such, but I would get out and about, going into town on the bus. But after the lockdown, I just stopped everything. I wasn't afraid of the virus, I was just afraid of going out of the house at all. At home, I had nothing to do. I would walk about and then just lie down and go to sleep, just for something to do. I didn't know what else to do, so I would just go to sleep. This group has released me. I was trapped, and I think this group has released me from that. Reading that out to you makes me feel incredibly proud of the work we do at New Writing North. Writing changes lives. Writing connects us to each other, and expressing who we are to each other brings strength to us all. We feel seen. It's very important. And our work in school reaches over 1,000 young people a year, offering them year-round creative opportunities to make songs, books, performances, and to enjoy words in new ways. This deeply embedded work pays dividends for individuals and for the creative industries. I'd now like to invite you to watch a film about our work with young people that will really show you what happens when we go into schools and communities. Please cue the film.
At New Writing North, we recognise that talent is everywhere, but opportunities to develop and have your voice heard are not.
Annie, it's very great. I literally love it.
It was possibly the best day of my life.
Our young people's programmes create opportunities for young people to be creative, find their talent and share their ideas, whatever their background or identity.
I've enjoyed it very much. It's the first time I've ever performed.
We run activities all year round and we work with over 1,000 young people every year.
I guess it's also a nice way for me to let it all out on the page and just have fun.
Young Writers City is our schools programme. We put professional writers in the classroom every week to lead creative projects with pupils of all ages. Young people can also join extracurricular activities run by us to take their writing further. We also support young people to find their voice and explore their creative potential.
Tonight we've been working on songs that we've been doing for the past couple of weeks and months, and we came to perform it today.
Everybody in year 5 and year 6 made some poems and they've gotten put into a book, and today's a celebration assembly. All the imagination just flies into your heads.
If you're struggling with anything, it's important to make sure somebody knows, and if you can't really speak that, then you can sing it instead of speaking it to somebody, because that can sometimes be really hard.
It felt very nervous because people I've never seen in my life before, and I started rapping. I felt more comfortable when I kept on going.
New Writing North's Young Writers Groups are free creative writing groups for young people between 11 and 19 years old. Every Young Writers Group is led by a professional writer who gets to know the group and runs workshops in response to their interests.
I've taught young people that have came in at 12 and then are literally leaving at 19, so it makes you really proud to see that progression in the young people.
In the summer, we run masterclasses on poetry, prose, songwriting, filmmaking, podcast production or script writing for young people who want to try new things.
It just gives you kind of a sense of accomplishment that you've done something with yourself rather than just sit at home doing nothing over the holiday.
Sometimes we go oh my God, I've known you for 6 years or whatever, and it's just such a strange thing, but a really nice, you're kind of like a little family, I suppose.
New Writing North's talent development programmes provide individual support for talented young writers who want to take their writing further. Our annual Young Writers Awards celebrate talent and support the next generation of writers from the north of England.
And I remember my teacher had told us that she had been informed that her student had won the Matthew Hale Award. But then she told us that she rung my dad. My dad started crying. That's when I realised that what I had done had been something that would been so separate to my usual academic self, and the usual phone calls home and stuff weren't very positive, but this was unbelievably positive.
At New Writing North, creative writing isn't just about putting pen to paper. Our programmes help young people develop their confidence and use creativity to improve well-being.
Before the award, I just felt so bleak about my future.
I've learned writing skills to be more confident and to be proud of who I am.
When you're making a movie, you've got to communicate with the other people that are there, so it can also help with communication, and then having to be up in front of the camera can also help with confidence.
Don't give up. Just don't give up. If you mess up the words, it's fine, just keep going.
And to win the award, it was almost like a second chance.
Don't give up, people. Keep going. That's the message. It was with Northumbria University's support in 2012 that we were able to open the Northern Writers Awards to the whole of the North. And tonight we celebrate 12 years of work together on their programme. What an achievement, and what a commitment by the university to New Writing North and to talent in the North. Their support has enabled us to change the game for writers in the North. With the university, we continue to be ambitious for writing and literature and what we can do in the city. I'd now like to introduce Karen Gentry, Pro-Vice-Chancellor of the Faculty of Art, Design and Social Science from the university, to say a few words. Please welcome Karen.
Thank you, Claire. Good evening. I'm delighted to welcome you to the 25th anniversary of the Northern Writers Awards and to congratulate New Writing North on this incredible milestone. It's always an inspiring night. I think the video is real evidence of how inspiring this work is. but even more so as we recognize how sustained this achievement has become. It is a testament to everyone's commitment and passion that the awards have grown into such a success, where after 25 years, these awards reach far beyond this one ceremony as a vital part of our creative ecology in the North and have become a part of the national landscape. As the headline event sponsor, it is Northumbria University's pleasure to welcome you to our campus and to be able to host and support this special occasion once again. Our relationship with New Writing North is our oldest and most established cultural partnership. The awards are at the heart of this partnership precisely because they embody many of the things that both of our organizations hold most dear. These include nurturing talent at the earliest stages, giving hope and encouragement at the moments where it's most needed, and breaking down barriers for many who might not otherwise have had an opportunity. In other words, really making a difference to individuals, to our region, and to the creative industries. These awards are always positive, shining a very bright spotlight on the incredible talent, and we are proud to be part of them. Just as the ceremony is only one part of the awards are only one part of our partnership. We recently updated our university strategy to set our sights and our focus even more clearly on excellence in research, on experiential learning, and equality of outcomes for all of our graduates, no matter what their background. So if anything, we are even more closely aligned to New Writing North than we were before. Our collaboration on research has had far-reaching influence through the Common People Report and the Writing Chance initiatives. Our studies have generated reports that have received the attention of Westminster, led to industry and policy changes, the emergence of new businesses, and opportunities opening for a new generation of diverse talent from the region. Through our industry-leading publishing master's program, co-designed with New Writing North and with Hachette, and New Writing North's input into our creative writing program, we are providing real-world experience to students and cultivating a northern pipeline of talent. And in all of this, a real commitment to diversity, to new voices, and to new opportunities is not only making access fairer, it is leveling up in action. These plans are evolving for the future as well. We share a vision to establish the Center for Writing as an exciting hub to bring all of this and more together under one roof in the heart of the city's creative and cultural zone. So, this is not really what tonight is about, though. It's not about us nor about the partnership. It is really about the award winners, these incredibly talented writers, and the recognition that you all deserve. And so, again, welcome and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Everyone here tonight is part of our community, and many more people in this region and in the wider North feel part of the New Writing North family. Every year, new people join. Everyone here is joining tonight, and it enables us to make even more brilliant stuff happen in the world. I invite you all to feel part of this. On our tables are booklets, and in them are QR codes, and you can give to support our programs via those codes. If you can't give directly, maybe you know someone, maybe you work in a workplace that could get involved with giving, or have friends and family who might be able to help. Please take forth what we're doing and what you've seen tonight and what you will see tonight into the world and help us make more positive change happen. In a moment, I'm going to hand over to the brilliant Andrew McMillan, who is going to host the next part of the evening for us and hand over the 2024 Northern Writers Awards. Congratulations from me to everyone in the room who's won tonight. Andrew is a former winner himself of a Northern Writers Award for his poetry. His award-winning collections of work include the collections Physical and Playtime, and this year he published his first novel, Pity, which is absolutely fantastic. One of my books of the year, and I encourage you all to read it. To repay the support that New Writing North gave to Andrew, he established the Tempest Prize with us, an award for LGBTQ writers in the North. You can see who has won the inaugural prize later tonight. But just before we welcome Andrew, we have something very special. I've described tonight life-changing moments, and they can be both big and small. You might publish a book and begin a career as a writer. You might find hope, freedom, and friendship at a local writing group. And via both, you might find your voice. At Callerton Academy, our young people's choir has definitely found their voice, and they are here tonight to sing some songs for you. So please welcome, if you want to come up to the stage, please welcome the young people from Callerton Academy. Woo!
Hi everyone, how's everyone doing tonight? Oh, come on, I know you can do better than that. How's everyone doing tonight? Okay, settle down, especially you, miss. We are the Callerton Canteen Choir.
Today we're going to be singing 2 original songs written by our students at Callerton Academy. We hope you enjoy.
Future, can't go back to the past. It's okay to Keep it going for the Callerton Choir. I'm never entering a stage again unless they sing me on, is what I've decided. So we've had some brilliant music. We've heard some brilliant inspirational speeches about what New Writing North does and the brilliant work that goes on. And now we're going to get on to the exciting bit, which is to hand out the prizes and the money to writers. But I guess because we've had starters, we've had mains, we've had some dessert, we might have had some wine, some of you, I know, and some tea and some coffee. I wanted to just check with a call and response that we're still here and still present. And so don't join in yet. So that was too premature. So what's going to happen is, when I say northern, you say writers. Northern. Writers. Northern. Writers. Northern. Writers. Literature, that was great. So this is an evening, as we've already heard, and we've just heard sung as well, where we celebrate the power of words and the power of literature. And it is incredibly humbly honoured for me to be back. I think 11 years since I won the Northern Writers Award for Poetry. And it's brilliant to be in this room, I think, with so many of you who understand, I think, the power of literature and the power of language. And I think it's important that we don't necessarily get carried away with that, because we know that a good story or a great poem isn't a replacement for closed youth theatres and youth centres. It's not a substitute for libraries that are under threat or shuttered sure start centres. But language can help us imagine new futures. And if we can re-articulate the past, if we can reframe and redraw and rewrite our current moment, then we can find and imagine new ways of moving forward. And writers from these places, all of us in this room, all of us writers from the North, we know the truth of these places, the multiple and various truths of the North. That it's great and not grim. That it's beautiful and not bleak. That it's not just de-industrial, but it's diverse and it's flourishing. And the message that I really wanted to kind of bring you, I guess, tonight and this evening, and which these awards have always had at their heart for the past 25 years, is that literature isn't elsewhere. It's where you are. And so whether it is that you're writing in Ardsley or Barrow or Carlisle or Doncaster or Easington or Failsworth or Garforth or Harrogate, this is the alphabet, by the way, or Ingerthorpe, or Jarrow, or Keighley, or Lancaster, or Maghull, or Normanton, or Ormskirk, or Penistone, or Quarmby, or Redcar, or Sheffield, or Tadcaster, or Ulverston, or Vale, or Wakefield, or the exceptional town of Barnsley, or Yarm, or the zoo at Blackpool. Your story, your voice, and your life is worthy of literature. Because we in this room know the truth, that Northern stories are the nation's stories, that Northern writers are the nation's writers. And I'm delighted that we're going to be meeting so many of them this evening. Including right now, we're going to have our first interlude in the evening before we get into the awards proper, and hear from one of our brilliant alumni. Okchukwu Nzelu is a Manchester-based writer. In 2015, he was a recipient of a Northern Writers Award for his debut novel, The Private Joys of Nena Maloney, that went on to be published by Dialogue Books in 2019. That won a Betty Trask Award and was also shortlisted for the Desmond Elliott Prize and the Polari First Book Prize, and longlisted for the Portico Prize. His second novel, Here Again Now, was published by Dialogue in 2022, was shortlisted for the RSL's Encore Prize for second novels, the Polari Prize, the Jalak Prize, and the Diverse Book Awards. He's made several appearances on national radio, and is a regular contributor to Kinfolk magazine. He's a non-executive director of ALCS and the CLA, and a lecturer in creative writing at Lancaster University. He's also one of my very dear friends. And I think that If I have advice for the new writers in the room tonight, it's to surround yourself with people whose talent and brilliance makes you want to be better, to surround yourself with people who you can share the successes and the disappointments of the writing life, and that will make everything an awful lot easier. And so please welcome to the stage Okechukwu and Zelu.
Oh my goodness. First the choir of children and then Andrew Macmillan saying all those beautiful things. I'm going to be crying my face off if I even get through my speech. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. It is incredibly wonderful to be back here. I won a Northern Writers Award, as I'll go on to talk about, 9 years ago, and I owe so much to New Writing North. Claire Malcolm sent my manuscript to the women who became my agent and my publisher. I now have the rare privilege of being able to say that I'm published by a black woman in a very big and very wonderful publisher. A few years ago when my first novel was coming out, they were deciding on the cover, and we decided we want an illustration of the main character, Nana Maloney, who's a mixed race, half Nigerian, half English girl. And my publisher was able to talk to the designers and say, no, that hair isn't right. That's something very few people get to say. I'm very grateful for that, and none of that would have happened without New Writing North. As I say, I won a Northern Writers Award in 2015. In 2019, I became a published novelist when my first book, The Private Joys of Nana Maloney, came out with Dialogue Books. Without New Writing North, my little story about a teenage girl living in Manchester and exploring her Nigerian heritage may never have seen the light of day. On top of that, because of the journey I've been on, I've made great friends, one of whom is obviously Andrew Macmillan, who encouraged me to apply for this award in the first place. I've met so many people whose work I admire. I've travelled, I've learned, I've had and continue to have experiences I'm deeply grateful for, and I've been given a platform, which is a hugely valuable thing. But 9 years ago, when I won my award, I was not succeeding. I was training and working as a secondary school teacher, and I was finding out firsthand just how difficult the job can be. To put it bluntly, I felt like I was failing. I was working 12, 13, 14-hour days as standard, but I didn't seem to be getting anywhere. Now, as writers, we all know that failure hurts, but the only thing worse than failing to live up to your own hopes and expectations is failing someone else. My PGCE year was one of the darkest times in my life, partly for this reason. So, when I got an email from New Writing North telling me that I'd won a Northern Writers Award, it felt like the first success I'd experienced in a really long time. I'd never won an award before. I'd never even had praise about my writing from someone I didn't know. So even if I didn't have this teaching thing down yet, at least I could say I was good at something. Everybody knows that writers need a little encouragement from time to time, a pat on the back, a kind word. But I don't think this is unique to writers. In fact, I think there is nothing more human than sometimes feeling tired or insecure or wondering if you're wasting your time. My award meant so much to me because it didn't just look to the past, it pointed to the future. It made me wonder what else I could do with a bit of encouragement. I think one of the differences between writing and teaching is that it's harder for writers to know if we're successful. If your students are safe and happy in your care, if they're engaged, if they're learning and growing, if they are singing original songs on stage, that is success. If you're teaching and it's not going so well, believe me, teenagers will let you know. But in writing, it's not always so easy to tell when you've been successful. In fact, I think if you speak to most writers, they'll find it easier to tell you what they're missing. If you've got the sales, do you have the awards? If you've got the awards, have your books been adapted for TV or film? If they've been adapted, have they sold foreign rights? If their work has been translated, have they got the best agent, the best publisher, the starred review, the social media followers, the newspaper column, the six-figure advance? In the world of writing, publishing, and producing, a lot of things are beyond our control. Advances can go up or down, reviews are unpredictable, sales and viewing figures even more so. In such circumstances, it can be helpful to have a sense of something fixed, an idea of what success means to you. a goal that's firm enough to give you purpose, but broad enough to take account of the fact that as writers, we don't get to decide everything. For many writers, the goal is to be able to earn a living from writing. I like this goal. It feels not so much achievable per se, certainly not humble, but like a fair and reasonable ask from the world. I just want to be able to do what I do. In 1850, 2 years after her novel Mary Barton was published, the Manchester writer Elizabeth Gaskell moved into a grand house on Plymouth Grove in an area that was then on the fashionable outskirts of Manchester. She was overjoyed, even overwhelmed at being able to afford it. In a letter to a friend, she wrote effusively about living somewhere that costs £150 a year, although this was, of course, about 15 times what the average woman earned a year, even at that time. Success more or less bowled Elizabeth Gaskell over. She wrote, "And we've got a house. Yes, we really have. And if I had neither conscience nor prudence, I should be delighted, for it certainly is a beauty. I must try and make the house give as much pleasure to others as I can, and make it as little a selfish thing as I can." I find Elizabeth Gaskell's words so revealing and inspiring, and it reminds me of something Toni Morrison said in an interview about another house. For Morrison, a house was a metaphor for the world in which she lived and wrote, a world in which she felt not fortunate, but trapped. A world she hoped to change for the better. That change, for Toni Morrison, was success. She said, "If I have to live in a racial house, it was important at the least to rebuild it so that it was not a windowless prison into which I was forced, a thick-walled, impenetrable container from which no sound could be heard, but rather an open house, grounded yet generous in its supply of windows and doors. Or at the most, it became imperative for me to transform this house completely." From these two quotations, you could be forgiven for thinking that success isn't all it's cracked up to be. It almost seems as though success is something you have to find and then something you have to make the best of. But I think something else is going on here, something more optimistic. What I learned from these two writers, from these two women, is that success isn't just a matter of being given something great or even earning something great. Success, like failure, encourages us to take stock of where we are, what we've done, and what we're capable of. Success isn't just someone handing you an award, although that's pretty great. Success prompts you to take stock of what you can achieve next, and for whom. I think it's quite telling that both of these writers responded to success by thinking about how they could use it, how they could share it. I also think it's interesting that fail is a transitive verb, but succeed isn't, not in the sense of achieving or doing well. You can fail someone by letting them down, but succeeding someone doesn't mean quite what it ought to mean, what I want it to mean. If I say the word succession, most people probably think of American TV and traumatic childhoods. I think that's strange and sad because I think that your success as winners tonight makes so many people happy, encourages and inspires so many people. The people who've cheered you on, believed in you, supported you. In the best possible way, you have succeeded them. The people who've read your work, or seen it performed or produced, or who saw what the awards judges saw. And, although failure is part of every writer's journey, I know you will go on to succeed many other people, perhaps more than you ever meet, and more than you will ever know. I hope that you take stock of what you can do, and I hope that this stock-taking is a joyful thing, and that you enjoy the fact that these awards aren't just a testament to your achievements, but to your potential also. I hope that whatever kinds of success come next for you, you take the time to enjoy that too. Thank you very much, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much to Okechukwu. And we're going to move on now to our first award of the evening. Here's how it's going to work. My two glamorous assistants are going to hold some certificates that are beautifully framed. They're going to hand me the correct certificate. When I say the name of the person, they're going to approach on stage left, pass that floral bouquet, not knock it over. Then they're going to approach we're going to applaud, obviously, all the way through this. Then I'm going to hand them the certificate, and we're going to pose, importantly, for a picture right there, and then they'll leave the stage. So it'll be a bit like a kind of live People's Postcode Lottery, is what I'm kind of thinking of it as, which is brilliant. And just to check the football, the score is currently 5-5, interestingly, in that England match. How exciting. Various things clearly have been going on there. So our first award of the night is the Young Northern Writers Awards. And these awards are for writers from 11 to 18 years old and award fiction, poetry, narrative, non-fiction, script, and songwriting. And this year's entries were judged by the poet Malika Booker. Give us a wave, Malika. Malika did judge quite a lot of these awards tonight, so we might get bored of applauding, but probably not yet. There are 2 age categories in this award. We've got the 11 to 14 age category and then the 15 to 18 age category. And each age category comes with a highly commended writer and then a winner as well. And so we're going to break it down into those 2 categories. And so first of all, we've got our 11 to 14 age category. And the highly commended writer is Jakub Rahman for his fiction. And the winner is Eva Tudor for her story. And Eva's going to receive £150. Please welcome them both to the stage. Eva's, okay. Eva's, fantastic, there we go, congratulations. Photographs, well done. There we go, congratulations. They're pros already, they didn't even want to stand with me, that's great. There's no, I'm going to stand alone and have the spotlight, which is quite right. We move on to the 15 to 18 category. So our highly commended writer in this category is Isabella Marino Garzon for poetry, and our winner is Corley Gooley for his script writing, and Corey receives £150. Please welcome them both to the stage. Thank you. Congratulations, Corey, well done. I don't know, over there maybe, there we go. Well done, Isabella. Pose, there we go. This is excellent applauding and cheering. We must pace ourselves. It's a long evening. Up next, I'm just going to have a glass of water. Up next, it's my honour to introduce to the stage Spike Hale. And Spike is going to tell us about the Matthew Hale Award, which he co-founded 10 years ago. So there's been a decade of the Matthew Hale Award. So please welcome Spike Hale to the stage.
Thank you. The temptation to walk straight through the bouquet was strong there. My name's Spike Hale, and I'm here on behalf of Jean, myself and the Hale family. As this year marks the 25th anniversary of the Northern Writers Award, it also marks the 10th anniversary of the Matthew Hale Award. So, a little background. In 1995, our son Matthew was killed in an accident, and subsequently family and friends donated money to a trust in his memory. He proved in his 11 years of life to be imaginative, creative, and was an avid reader. And we wanted to use the money to help support creative endeavour amongst young people whose personal circumstances were an obstacle to their active engagement in the creative process. In the early years, while Jean and I were still in the front line of education and the arts, we supported a number of projects across the region. But as we were distanced from the front line, the work of the Trust flagged. Our brother-in-law, as treasurer of the Trust, prompted us to think about the remaining money, and Jean, then a trustee of New Writing North, suggested that this money could be used to support an award for young people, an idea enthusiastically supported by Anna and Claire. And as I too had been involved in commissioning new playwrights to develop new work alongside young people, it seemed the perfect fit. In the early days, we were taken aback by the volume of applications for the award and by the quality of the writing emerging from the young applicants. The trust funding ended after a 3-year period, and Jean and I decided to continue funding and supporting the award, recognising its value and its scope. What is the award? Well, it would appear to be a sum of money for the winner to use towards developing their writing skills. But no. As a winner, you are embraced by that wonderful organisation, New Writing North. You are nurtured, supported, encouraged, listened to, promoted, and cared for. As most of you in this room will know, New Writing North is from end to end populated with people who not only understand writing and writers, but who are passionate advocates for all those with whom it engages. The success of the Matthew Hale Award over 10 years is entirely in the hands of those incredible people. Reading through the list of previous recipients and their forward progress made us deeply proud of and deeply grateful for the outstanding work of New Writing North. In a world where the weak, the poor, the oppressed and the disadvantaged are betrayed by lacklustre and mendacious political leadership, I think sometimes it's hard to be optimistic. But then Claire earlier talked about hope. So I have a recommendation. Read the work of the outstanding young people who apply for this award and see that their vision of the future shows courage, empathy and understanding. We are at least safe in their hands.
Thank you so much to Spike, and it's now my honour to present the Matthew Hale Award. As we've just heard, it's an award that's open to young writers who show promise but have limited opportunities to pursue their talent. We're incredibly grateful always to the family of Matthew Hale for making this award possible. There are 2 awards here as well, a highly commended and a winner. I'll give us both their names and they'll come up and get their certificates. And I've just realised where the photographer is that's meant to be taking the photos of the certificates. They're there, so we're going to pose here. Just to clarify. So, we've got, as I said, a highly commended and a winner for the Matthew Hale Award. The highly commended is Mikhail Ali for his poetry, and our winner this year is Ebony Marshall for her poetry, and she received support worth £500. Please welcome them both to the stage. There we go. Congratulations to both there. There we go, just there. Excellent. I'm just hearing in my ear there's been a goal ruled out by VAR for an unfortunate incident involving a dog, because it's still 5-5 in the football, if you're worried about that. So, our next award is the Tempest Prize, which, as Claire mentioned at the start, is an award that I've been really honoured to collaborate on with New Writing North this year. It aims to find unpublished LGBTQ+ writers from the north of England, whether they're writing in prose, non-fiction, or in poetry. Myself and Patience Agbarbi judged the prize this year, and the standard of entries was astonishingly high. I was really keen that, as we've heard all the way through this evening so far, that stories come from every town and every village in the north. My own little village of Darfield, just outside Barnsley, where I grew up, has a museum now that's dedicated to the Maurice Dobson Museum, that's dedicated to Maurice Dobson, who, after the war, moved back to that village with his partner, Fred, and they set up a shop together. And now the museum is kind of named after him, and it's my kind of firm belief that every village, every town, every city in the north of England has its own queer history and has its own queer writers that we need to hear from. And this Tempest Award is a way of kind of finding that, I guess, and just celebrating that. So the winner receives £1,000. They get mentoring from Andrew McMillan, who I've never heard of, but I'm sure that'll be fine, as well as, of course, access to the kind of all the other help and support that New Writing North offer, all the winners of the New Writing North Awards. And I'm really thrilled to announce that our winner this year for the inaugural Tempest Prize is Alicia Byrne. So please give her a big round of applause. Alicia sadly couldn't be here this evening, but she's joining us they're joining us, pardon me, on live stream, and I know they're going to be really excited to hear all those whoops and cheers that you've just given them. Alicia's written this incredible novel that's about Northern soul, and it's about Manchester, it's about the North, it's about queerness, just this really fantastic novel, and they're just such a special talent. And so I'm really pleased that the Tempest Prize in its first year has been able to recognise Alicia. So please, just one more time, give them a massive round of applause. Alicia Byrne. Excellent. We're going to move on now to another prize that's sponsored by a previous winner of a Northern Writers Award. And so Benjamin Myers, a few years ago, started the Finkel Award for short fiction. Ben, of course, we know is one of our kind of great writers from the north of England. His books include The Gallows Pole, The Offing, and Cuddy. And this is a prize that rewards a single short story, that hardest of forms, to really nail. We're incredibly grateful, as ever, to Benjamin Myers' support for this award. And the award this year was judged by the writers Fiona Mosley, who's with us in the audience. Give us a wave and a cheer. And Rob Doyle, is Rob here? But let's give him a cheer anyway. Because why not? And the winner, as chosen by those two esteemed and brilliant judges of the Finkel Award for short fiction this year, is Abby Walker for her story, The Killing Thing, and Abby receives that £1,000 check. Anything else? Congratulations. Just look that way for the picture. And congratulations to Abby once again. We're moving on now to the Sid Chaplin Award. This award is made in memory of the Northeast writer Sid Chaplin, and we gratefully acknowledge the support of the Chaplin family, Newcastle University, and the North Literary Agency for all making this award possible. The 2024 award this year was judged by the award partners, who I've just mentioned, alongside the writer Eva Verdi. Is Eva with us this evening? Well, let's give her a cheer anyway. The two winners this year, interesting, it's like that year they split the Oscar. So the judges and the judging partners couldn't choose between these two brilliant talents, and so we've got a split award this year. They're both going to receive £1,500, a TLC read, as well as developmental support as well to help them on their way. So our two winners this year are Jessica Holmes for her novel Skinned Knees, and Adam Barrett for his novel He Too Must Sleep. So please give them both a massive round of applause. Keep it going, they're on the way, keep it going. Keep it going. Who have we got first? There we go, Adam, fantastic, just look that way. Congratulations, it's just fantastic. So, up next, this is a long time for me to be on stage without breaking it. It's fine. We'll power through. We've got another reading in a bit. It's all right. So, the next award TLC Awards. And these awards are made in partnership with a brilliant literary consultancy who are just fantastic, and with support from Arts Council England as well. The winners receive one of TLC's incredible manuscript appraisals, which have helped develop so many writers over the years, and a bursary of £500 and developmental support from both TLC and New Writing North. So it's an incredible wraparound of support and help for these people, these winners of the Northern Promise Awards. And our two winners this year are Paula Blair for her creative non-fiction manuscript, Somewhere Between, and Daisy Costello for her feminist speculative novel, Dollface. Please welcome them both to the stage. Congratulations. Congratulations, Daisy. Fantastic. Up next, we've got the Avon Award. And the winner of this award is given the chance to attend an Avon retreat of their choice. Avon courses, as many of us know in the room, can just be simply transformative and life-changing. They're this brilliant kind of time away from the world for a week of intense and rigorous tuition from tutors, but also a real chance just to meet other writers. And I did one back in 2011, I think, when I'd first graduated from university, and some of the writers I met there I'm still in touch with and have been able to kind of grow with. And so we really thank Avon for making this award possible. And the winner of this year's Avon Award is Laura Tisdale for a speculative novel, New Mothers. Please welcome Laura to the stage. Going. There we go. Excellent. Congratulations, Laura. Thank you, and well done again to Laura. So up next, we've got our Northumbria University Student and Alumni Award. And this is a special award that recognises the achievements of a student or recent alumni from Northumbria University. This award is shortlisted by members of the creative writing team at Northumbria University, and then the winners are selected by our judges Rachel Mann and Ashley Hickson Loven. So are either of our judges in tonight for a round of applause and a cheer? Yes, woo! All these books that people are winning for sound so good, by the way. So our winner this year is Stephen McGowan for his cyberpunk crime novel, Joyland. And Stephen's going to receive £2,000. So please welcome Stephen to the stage. Congratulations, Stephen. Just let that make a picture. Fantastic. Congratulations again to Stephen, and sign me up because a cyberpunk crime novel called Joyland is like right up my street. Up next, I am going to introduce a short talk by Andy Ruffle. Andy's worked as a teacher and head teacher for nearly 18 years. He won the Hachette Children's Novel Award back in 2021 with Lily Grimm and The City of Undone. He lives in North Yorkshire with his wife and two daughters. It's a really brilliant chance again to hear from one of the brilliant Northern Writers Awards alumni. And so please welcome Andy Ruffle to the stage.
Gosh, for someone shy like me, that's a surprisingly long walk. I'm going to have to challenge my my inner Callerton Choir Eras tour sort of confidence to get through this. Yeah, they were an inspiration. Watch out, Taylor Swift. Right, so good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here. And before I actually talk about the Hachette Children's Novel Award and the amazing privilege it's been to have won the Northern Writers Award, I'd actually like to just talk a little bit about childhood dreams. Probably not surprising, given I've worked in primary schools for a long time, and I'm talking about children's books. When I was growing up, I had 3 big dreams, and all of those dreams were born, at least in part, in books. Dream number 1, thanks to Swallows and Amazons, was to live wild in the woods as a charcoal burner. Ideally, also with an adder kept in a tin box underneath my camp bed for good luck. But sadly, according to my parents, living wild in the woods is not really a very mainstream career choice. So that dream sadly got stamped on very early on in life. Dream number 2, thanks to Gerald Durrell and James Herriot, was to be a naturalist or a vet. Again, real life and adulthood snuffed that dream out because apparently daydreaming doesn't actually go that well with practical lab work. So science was not a career for me. Dream number 3 was a really, really secret dream that I had. I was afraid to share it with pretty much anyone else because I thought people would laugh at me. And that was to write books, and specifically to write a children's book. That childhood dream actually proved to be astonishingly resilient. It survived whatever I threw at it. It survived years and years of neglect. It survived always telling it to wait another year. It's a bit like a picnic spot, isn't it? The best picnic spot is always just around the corner. Many of you will be fellow procrastinators, and the best time to write your book will always be tomorrow. You get a lot of house cleaning done, don't you, when you're going to write a book? Dream number 3 didn't really get its chance until I was 45. So it was a long wait, but like all of those things that are worth waiting for, it was so worth waiting for. Writing for children is a great privilege. They don't care about awards or sales figures or how many followers you've got on Twitter. They just care about stories which light them up. They care about those stories which will give them a dream. And knowing that you've written something that might just make a child somewhere dream is really a special kind of magic. Winning the Hachette Children's Novel Award with Lily Grimm, The City of Undone, gave me a taste of that magic. Not least because it just helped me believe that it was actually possible. To get Lily Grimm in the best state possible to meet her readers, I have to say I feel astonishingly lucky to have had the support of the wonderful team at Hachette. If the world of children's literature was a magical fantasy, then the key players in its magic system would almost certainly be the editors. And oh my God, I didn't realise what an amazing job they do. My lovely editor, Jenna McIntosh, and her team just taught me so much. And I will always be so grateful for that precise, careful suggestions that she and her team made to help me improve my work. And to those of you who have won the award this year, you have such an exciting journey ahead of you, because working with those expert staff at Hachette to look at your books with fresh eyes will not only teach you a huge amount about your craft, but also about yourself and how you feel as a writer. Since winning the award, I've felt able to call myself a writer most of the time, without feeling that little squirm of imposter-driven fear. Again, I'm assuming that that's probably pretty common amongst most of the audience, even when you've won an award. Although I still struggle to fit writing in around full-time work, family, and just that business of real life, that simple shift in believing in myself has meant that when I do write, I always enjoy it. And my daydreaming mind, that stood in the way of other career choices, but my daydreaming mind is now just more full of magic and stories than it ever was before. It's also given me wonderful opportunities like talking to children and adults at festivals, in schools, libraries and bookshops. It's given me the chance to connect with other writers and publishing professionals. I have to say as well, it even inspired my wife Joanne to change careers from teaching to publishing. And another shout out for Hachette. Part of that was made possible by Orion's internship scheme. So those of you thinking of moving into publishing, that is a great route in. So she's moved into publishing and she now works with the lovely team at Dyslexia up in here in Newcastle. But for me, perhaps most importantly, in my role as a primary school head teacher, my success inspired our pupils. amazingly, I didn't think they'd be that interested, but they were. And just before I left head teaching last year, I was just blown away to have a 30-strong after-school writing club that was oversubscribed, and I was always having to let extra children in, just packed with children who had the same dream that I'd had at their age, to be a writer and to share the magic of their storytelling, only they weren't too afraid to share it with someone. These awards help change lives, well beyond those of us who are fortunate enough to win them. So thank you very much to New Writing North and Hachette for creating this award, and enormous congratulations to this year's winners. I hope you are ready to enjoy the magic too. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Andy. When I say northern, you say writers. Northern. Northern. When I say level, you say up. Level. Level. So much fun. We're going to move on now to the Hachette Children's Novel Awards. We just heard brilliantly from Andrew what impact and importance these awards can have on the career of somebody just starting out. They're running partnership, as we were hearing, with Hachette Children's Group. The Hachette Children's Novel Awards offers 2 career-changing opportunities for writers who have not yet published a work of middle-grade fiction. The 2 winners receive £3,000 each and mentoring from professionals at Hachette Children's Group. This year, there's quite a large judging panel, so we'll applaud them all at the end, thank them from the work. But this year's judging panel was Sarah Lennon-Gallivan, Aliana Hergy, B. Fitzgerald, JJ Arcanjo, and Sadie Cheshire. So please thank them all very much for their judging work. And so the winners of that very important mentoring, as well as the £3,000, are Gavin Crippen for his novel The Sidewinders and Sophie Clark for her novel Ellie Anderson is Dead. Huge congratulations to them both. Keep it going, they're on their way, they're on their way. Still on track. Congratulations. Just look there for a photo. Congratulations, Gavin. Congratulations once again to Gavin and Sophie. It's my honour now to introduce a poetry reading from one of the former winners of the Poetry Awards, of the Northern Writers Awards, Kit Fan. Kit Fan is a novelist as well as a poet and critic and has won 2 Northern Writers Awards. He's born and educated in Hong Kong before moving to the UK at 21. His debut novel was Diamond Hill, and his first book of poems, Papers is a Stone, won the inaugural HKU International Poetry Prize. The Ink Cloud Reader, his most recent brilliant collection, was shortlisted for the Forward Prize and T.S. Eliot Prize. Kit Fan is just one of our very best poets. The way that he can interrogate an image, the way that he can interrogate a line, I just find breathtaking. And he's one of the only people I've ever met who loves Tom Gunn more than me as well. And so please welcome to the stage the wonderful Kit Fan.
Thank you, Andrew, for such generous introduction. I suddenly thought of a line from the American poet Emily Dickinson. She talked about the fork in a being's road. The fork in a being's road. Some of these kind of so fundamental, life-changing moments that we're not talking about life anymore, we talk about beings. There are many forks in my life, I have to say. Some bad ones and some exceptional ones. One of them was meeting my partner, my husband, Hugh, who is here with me tonight. There are the 2 forks. They're all to do with Northern Writers Award and New Writing North. Having won the fiction prize, created my first novel, Diamond Hill, and having won the poetry prize, gave birth to this book. I'm going to read the opening poem from the Ink Cloud Reader. It's called Suddenly. It has an epigraph. Never use suddenly, the most overused, least needed word in fiction. Elmore Leonard. Suddenly. Suddenly, the cloud knot unraveled and a droplet fell from a womb. 3 days of hard labor had broken her. She said she was too tired to name the boy. Suddenly, the blackened milk teeth gave up after a year of antibiotics. The doctors were baffled. His locked mouth was fed Swift's solidified saliva to clear his feverish chest. Home left him suddenly. At the zebra crossing, his father suddenly took his hand. No cars, no danger ahead, but being held was a strange thing. Moving in with his family, stranger. Suddenly, first week at school, he stopped speaking. Teacher called his mother in. When asked to explain the silence, he said he had nothing to say. Suddenly, at 14 on a bridge, he vowed never to reproduce. Desire suddenly overtook fear. After watching Kieslowski's Decalogue in one sitting, he spelled out his heart and asked what togetherness meant. Joe walked off in the rain. Years later, suddenly, he discovered from the book of not watching Decalogue, not asking the right question, not spelling things out, no Joe and no rain. Suddenly, a handful of milk seeds, and suddenly, man. Suddenly, 2001, 2 professors persuaded him to study a malleable thing called literature. Hong Kong had returned to China, but he flew to Britain. Suddenly, people spoke Yorkshire, loaf on the bus, loaf in the shops. Yorkshire stared at him, and he stared back. 2 neurons in a busy translation loop. Suddenly, one autumn, he found love and blockades, a logjam, and suddenly diversions. Everywhere, the road signs read divorce, teenagers, and anorexia. He claimed driving was in his DNA because his father was a taxi driver. Suddenly, his tongue tripped on the English alphabet as he rebuilt the Telford Gardens library he had brought up in, but now demolished. People call that poetry. Suddenly, a voice, a temporary abode. Suddenly, he failed and blamed the words and the Swift's saliva. How many edible bird nests were robbed in exchange for a lottery of half-tuned stolen keys? And what could he say to the superior blast that suddenly erased his vocal cords, retinas, eardrums, taste buds, and all the tensions in his fingertips, tendons, heart? Suddenly, rain churns up the clouds and stops. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Kit for that really wonderful reading. We're moving on now, or I guess staying with poetry, because now we've got our Northern Debut Awards for Poetry. These awards support poets who've yet to publish a first collection through a development programme that includes a £2,000 bursary and mentoring from an experienced poet. The entries were judged by Anthony Enoxagoru and, of course, again, Malika Booker. We've got 3 winners for these debut awards in poetry. We've got Tom Branfoot for Volatile, Callan Waldron Hall for Good Luck, Have Fun, and Jasmine Linklater for her currently untitled collection, which is, I think, the best title we've heard so far tonight. Please welcome all 3 of them to the stage. Tom. Congratulations to the project tonight. Asking congratulations. Well done. Fantastic. And alongside the debut awards for poetry, we also have the Northern Writers Awards for poetry. It's confusing because they almost sound the same, but they're not quite. There's a subtle difference. These are the flagship Northern Writers Awards strand that offer bursaries to outstanding poets who are developing work towards publication. This award was judged by, guess who? The poet Malika Booker. Getting a lot of airtime tonight, Malika. This is fun. There are 2 winners this evening of the Northern Writers Awards for Poetry, and they are Roma Havers, who will get £2,000 to support The Natural Way, and Lucy Burnett, who will get £3,000 to support The Long Wood. Lucy's joining us on the live screen, but Roma's here in the room, so give them both a massive round of applause. Fantastic. So congratulations again to all our poetry winners, to Tom, to Callan, to Jasmine, to Roma, and to Lucy, who we can see there behind us. Up next, I'm really, really excited to introduce another reading, this one by another former winner, Caris Davis, who I've never met before, but he's just one of my favourite novelists. And Caris's debut novel, West, was shortlisted for the Rathbones Folio Prize, runner-up for the Society of Authors McKittrick Prize, and winner of the Wales Book of the Year for fiction. It's a remarkable novel about a guy who sees a newspaper report about a kind of old kind of creature and decides that he must go off into the West to find it. And it's just this remarkable novel. It's also the author of The Mission House, which was Sunday Times, in brackets London, 2020 Novel of the Year, and 2 collections of short stories, Some New Ambush and The Redemption of Gallon Pike, which won the Frank O'Connor International Short Story Award and the Jerwood Fiction Uncovered Prize. Her new novel is Clear, which again is just an astonishing achievement of a novel. There's no word or kind of breath wasted in anything that Caris Davis writes, and I'm incredibly honoured that she's going to be reading for us now, so please welcome her to the stage.
Thank you, Andrew, for that very kind introduction. It's really lovely to be back in Newcastle, and I'm so honoured to have been invited to give a reading tonight. I was talking to my daughter on the phone from my hotel this afternoon, and she said, "Oh, what are you doing in Newcastle?" And I explained, and she said, "Oh, you're the here's one I made earlier person." And I really love that because there's so much truth in it. It's hard to believe that it's 12 years since I was here picking up a Northern Writers Award myself. But what I do know is how incredibly important that was to me. Writing is such a solitary, often lonely business. It has to be. And my award came at a time when the encouragement, recognition, money, kindness, and brilliant professional know-how, which I think of as a kind of mixture of hustle and muscle that New Writing North exhibits in a what can feel like a very intimidating and exclusive industry. I think perhaps especially for writers in the North, and all of that couldn't have been more vital to me. So I'm delighted to be able to read a short passage from my new novel, Clear. Just to give you a little bit of an introduction. Clear is the story of Ivar, the last remaining inhabitant of a remote island off the far northeast coast of Scotland, and of John Ferguson, an impoverished, newly married Presbyterian minister who is sent to remove him from it. It's also the story of Mary, John's wife, left at home on the mainland and becoming increasingly worried and convinced that John should never have accepted this errand. The year is 1843, so we're in the final, most brutally coercive years of the Scottish clearances, when big landowners were evicting their small tenants to make way for sheep. We're going to join Ivar near the beginning of the story. John has arrived on the island. I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to tell you that he suffered a terrible accident, during which he's been separated from his belongings. Ivar, though, knows nothing about any of this. He still thinks he's alone, and we're going to, as I say, join him. He's down on the beach where he's gone with his horse, Peggy, to collect grass. At the inlet, having decided against his breakfast, Ivar worked steadily, bent over and tearing armfuls of the luxuriant grass from between the rocks. Slowly he moved across them, picking the grass as he went, and it was here that he stopped and straightened himself and looked out across the water. During his illness, dark swimming patches had often appeared in his vision, black clots that floated before his eyes if he made the slightest movement, and for a moment he didn't move. There was a word in his language that described the covering and uncovering of a sunken rock by the sea, and it would have also described exactly the way the dark and lumpy object kept sinking beneath the shallow waves and then appearing again. He blinked, and when the dark shape was still there, he dropped the grass and began to wade out. But the wind was blowing now, coming in gusts of increasing violence, and every time he reached for the lumpy mass, it heaved away from him, out of reach. On the foreshore, Peggy stood with her head down, the wind whipping against her flanks and into her eyes. Ivar snatched again at the floating object, and this time he caught the edge of it and drew it close. For a long time he stood on the beach, looking out at the departing tide. Mist and fine rain were being driven before the wind. Sweet water trickled from the base of the cliffs behind him. He saw puffins and seals and cormorants, nothing else. For more than an hour he stood there, but there was nothing and no one, no large vessel or small boat of any kind. and in the end he hung the satchel from his shoulder, packed the grass into Peggy's baskets, turned his back on the beach, and went home. In the satchel, he found a bundle of sodden papers inside a blue cloth cover, a comb like the one Hannes had once brought back for Jenny from Bergen, the time he got the tea and the tobacco, only smaller and with smoother teeth, a piece of corn-coloured soap, soft and squashy from all the water, a tin containing a small folding knife, and what he believed to be writing implements. And right at the bottom, under the papers, he found a dark-haired woman inside a leather frame, looking up at him from behind a piece of broken glass with a shy and secret smile. It was impossible to make out her surroundings, which were misty and brown and indistinct, as if she was standing in the grainy gloaming of an early winter afternoon. But the woman herself was as alive as anything he'd ever seen, and more alive by far than his memories of Jenny, or his mother, or his grandmother. In his whole life, he had never seen anything like her. He touched her with his finger, almost expecting her to move, and for a long time, he knelt before the fire, holding her. It was late when he stood up and propped her against the wall on the stone shelf above the hearth, while he separated the soaking papers that were in the bag and spread them out in front of the fire to dry. If there'd been anything written on them, any words in English or Scots or Danish or Norwegian or any other language he didn't know and couldn't read, they had been washed away. The blue cloth they'd been wrapped in, he wrung out with his hands and spread that out too. The soap he lifted to his face, but it smelled of nothing but the sea, and he set it down on the hearth next to the comb. And then, even though everything was already illuminated by the fire, he lit the lamp so he could look again at the smiling dark-haired woman who was somehow alive inside the frame and the murky brown darkness that surrounded her. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Caris for that wonderful reading. And we've reached our final awards of the evening. Just before that, as a final update on the football, sad to tell you that it's only coming home in the sense that I'm coming home when I tell my boyfriend I'm just popping out for one drink on a Friday after work. We're going to move on to fiction, or kind of stay with fiction, as we've just heard from Caris there. We've got, first of all, our Northern Debut Awards, which are given for both fiction and YA. These awards support debut writers through a development programme that includes a £2,000 bursary, mentoring with a writer or publishing professional, and support, of course, from New Writing North. These fiction awards this year were judged by Malika Booker. No, don't worry, Malika, it wasn't you this time. They were judged by the literary agent Rachel Mann and writer Ashley Hickson-Loven. So let's give them a round of applause as a thank you. So our three winners this year of the Northern Debut Awards for Fiction and YA, with that £2,000 bursary, that mentoring and the professional support, are Beth L. Thompson for her novel Scouse Graffiti, Cindy Withjack for her at-present untitled debut novel, and Letty Sharp for her YA fantasy novel Veiled Enchantments. Give them all a round of applause. Come on, let's keep it going. We're almost there. Congratulations. Let's have that picture there. Start to move. Stay there for a moment. There we go. Congratulations, Cynthia. Thank you. Yeah, that's fine. Congratulations, Letty. Congratulations again to Beth, Cindy, and to Letty. Well done. And now our final award of the evening is the Northern Writers Award for Fiction. This is a flagship Northern Writers Award strand that offers bursaries to novelists and short story writers developing their work to publication. And there's just one winner to tell you about this year. This award again was judged by literary agent Rachel Mann and writer Ashley Hickson-Lovens. And the winner this year, who can't be with us as they're out of the country, but they're joining us via live stream, so we have to cheer extra loud so that they hear us, is Jane Claire Bradley, who's receiving £5,000 to support her work in progress, Teen Spirits. Let's hear it for Jane Claire Bradley. Good, we've made it. It's the final award. My script now says Andrew rounds up, so I'm going to round up. It's been very fun. These are my final thoughts. No, I just want to say that I think we've heard from these different alumni and these previous winners, as we've heard both their kind of creative outputs and readings, but also I think really heartfelt and very, very moving speeches about what these awards mean. You can see that the kind of web that the Northern Writers Awards have cast over 25 years is very long and very large, and the amount of writers who have the careers that they have because of the support that Claire and the rest of the New Writing North team have given them, I don't think can be underestimated. It's a brilliant thing. I was saying this to someone outside as we were kind of gathered for the reception. It's a brilliant thing to feel part of a cohort, to kind of come up through something together. We've heard several people say how solitary writing can feel, how lonely it can feel sometimes. But look around this room and see that these are your peers, these are your cohort, these are your class. And you're going to kind of move through the publishing world together. You're going to kind of publish your books around the same time. You're going to meet each other at festivals. You're going to come back and give readings at events like this. But support each other and be there for each other, and I just can't wait to see what each and every single one of you does in the future, and I really look forward to reading all your books. So let's have a massive round of applause again for all the winners and all the judges this evening. My final duty this evening is just to introduce to you the New Writing North Chair, David Roach, who's going to bring the evening to a close. So please welcome David to the stage.
Thank you very much, Andrew. An amazing evening. I've got stuff written down here which sort of recaps, but I can't recap as well as Andrew can recap. So rather than say again everything that's been said, you know, this is a core thing that New Writing North does, but you heard from Claire, it does so much more. And it really is an honour to be involved with this organisation. It takes great partnerships and an enormous amount of work to put these awards together. And there's a number of people that I'd like to thank for their contribution over the past year that resulted in the fantastic evening that we've had tonight. Northumbria University is the lead sponsor of the awards, and also to Arts Council England. All the partners, funders, allies, and individual donors who make the awards possible. Thank you. A big one to Andrew McMillan for hosting the awards tonight and all the speakers and readers showcased tonight. All our judges, external readers and internal sifters who are part of the intricate selection process that takes several months. A special thank you, to Will Mackey, who's the Senior Programme Manager who makes the Northern Writers Awards happen. I know that the writers we work with appreciate him so much, so a big thank you to Will. The Northern Writers Awards is, however, a real team effort with everyone at New Writing North involved. In particular, on event delivery, Hannah Sandu, Rebecca Wilkie, Helena Davison and Joe Baumber. The Young People and Communities team led by Tess Denman-Cleaver. Important one, for making sure all the writers are paid. Big thanks to Fiona Melvin, Phaedra Andrew and the finance team. Engagement with the awards has increased every year with an amazing 3,000 entries this year, so special thanks to the creative work of Laura Frayne, Caris Vickers and Jude Lowes in promoting the awards. And just an aside there, sadly Laura is leaving us after 9 wonderful years, and we'll miss her and wish her all the best in her new career, so special applause for Laura. And we've heard on several occasions that 2024 is the 25th birthday of the Northern Writers Awards, and I think it's only fitting that we recognise Claire Malcolm's pioneering work establishing the awards at a time when very few organisations were offering this kind of support to writers. As a result of Claire and Anna Disley's vision and drive, they now set the standard for writer development as well as literature work with young people and are recognised nationally as the best in class and the example that everyone should strive to follow. And I have to say, the North East is very lucky to have New Writing North and its fabulous team, and their ambition for the region knows no bounds whatsoever. And finally, thanks to you all in the room and on live stream, and congratulations again to all the winners. Do celebrate. Thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a great rest of the evening. Thank you.